The U.S. House of Representatives plans to vote this week to reform huge parts of the landmark Dodd-Frank financial regulatory law passed way back in the Obama administration. Now, you may have plenty of reasons to love or hate Dodd-Frank, but so many of our NAED member distributors have told us there's one thing in particular that has been a huge expense, and they could never really figure out where it came from, and that's conflict minerals reports. Unless you're a publicly traded company, you were never supposed to have to deal with conflict minerals reporting. Well, that's what the law said. But alas, the old rule of unintended consequences reared its ugly head, and distributors faced demands from customers who had to file the reports. They said, "Help us file this report." Now, we don't like to tell customers no. So distributors found themselves spinning their wheels trying to aggregate country of origin information on thousands of SKUs that they sell. Most of the time, they were met with shrugged shoulders and "we'll get back to you." To make matters worse, much of this work is being wasted. Nobody's even enforcing the law. The Trump administration said they won't enforce it. The Obama administration never enforced it. It's nothing more than a ton of paper shuffling with no discernible impact on the lives of the people it's meant to help. Look, it's tragic that so many of the material inputs for items you and I take for granted, from smartphones to golf clubs to power tools, come from places on Earth that lack stable governments and the rule of law. When you buy that new super spinny gap wedge, you don't want to obliquely help warlords weaponize the mining industry in Central Africa. Well, guess what? You might be. And you still won't be able to back up your approach shot like a tour pro. The good news is there's a natural choke point in the conflict mineral supply chain, and it happens when the minerals are refined at smelters. It's tough enough to know where the raw materials came from once they leave that smelter. So if interest groups focus on the hundreds of smelters around the planet, we're more likely to effectively crack down on bad actors than we are by going through the painfully ad hoc exercise so many distributors have been caught up in, helping manufacturers track materials back through the supply chain to the point where somebody dug them out of the ground. There's just a lot of guesswork in that process. So, like we said at the top, the House is going to vote on a bill to repeal sections of Dodd-Frank this week, including the conflict minerals reporting requirement. Financial Services Committee Chairman Representative Jeb Hensarling of Texas introduced the bill, known as H.R. 10 or the Financial Choice Act. Speaker Paul Ryan says the bill will get a vote in the House on Thursday. You can tell your member of Congress to support the Financial Choice Act by calling the U.S. House switchboard at 202-224-3121, or you can email your member of Congress through our website. Click the link above. Your message is simple. I'm your constituent and I want you to support H.R. 10. Now, if you're feeling especially brave, you maybe even ask the person who answers the phone, how's a congressperson planning to vote on H.R. 10? The staffer who answers the phone is the one who drew the short straw and doesn't have the seniority to make somebody else answer the phone, so they likely won't know and definitely won't argue with you. They'll tally the calls for and against the bill and report that to their chief of staff, who will have the discussion with the member of Congress prior to the vote. That's why it's important to get to know your member of Congress personally and their staff. If you want help creating those relationships, email me at eorlet@naed.org and I'll call you to help. It's not hard, and your elected officials deal with unhinged constituents all day. They love it when reasonable people want to talk to them, believe me. That's it for today. We'll let you know how the vote goes Thursday, so stay tuned, and thanks as always for supporting NAED.